You're listening to Fight Jokes About Everything, a Night Shift Radio original. For more information, visit nightshiftradio.com. So CES 2021 has kicked off yet again. So CES is the Consumer Electronics Show. It's been around for about 50 years. I think it's like introducing new technology. Think of like Stark Expo if you guys are big Marvel Universe fans. That's kind of what it is. People have used this to showcase brand new technology. There are some companies that sit this out. Like as an example, Apple is rare to, if ever, to show up to one of these shows. In fact, Apple does have a very big announcement later today that they're showcasing. Supposedly, it's a really big one. Current rumors are they're going to be announcing things like they're pairing up with Hyundai to create an electronic car. That's been rumored for the past 7 years now. The other thing too is that there's rumor of them doing their AR glasses. So they'd be, Google Glass tried this a few years ago. It didn't really take off because they were terrible. So that's the general thought, is that Apple is going to be launching one of those two products, or talking about those two products sometime on Wednesday. This is during all of CES. Now, typically CES is held in Las Vegas, and it's the place that you tell your friends and family that you're going to when in fact you're going to the Adult Film Awards. We know what you're doing. We all know. The Adult Film Awards happened at the same time in the same convention center in the same city. Coincidentally, who knew? Nerds love sex. But anyway, so here are just a couple of things that I thought were really great that were announced during CES, either at the showcase, the digital showcase. Obviously, this is 100% digital this year because of COVID restrictions and everything. No conventions this year because, no one wants to die. So here's just a couple of the things that came out or that were announced either at CES or this week that I thought really interesting and should take note. So right off the bat, there's one called Good Maps. Good Maps is designed to guide visually impaired folks via camera. So essentially, you hold your camera up and you walk, and basically it'll scan. It'll use like Google Street View. It's its own proprietary thing, but it'll use like that to kind of say like 450 yards to your left is a Chinese place. 600 yards to your right is a laundromat or something. So you can kind of walk with your phone up and you'll be able to know like all the things that are around you. It's basically a way for those that can't see to see the city. It's a really great thing. I hope it takes off. There's already apps that do things very similar. This one promises to be much better. It basically becomes a heads-up display for those that are visually impaired. Very, very awesome. Samsung has debuted Bot Handy. It is a one-armed AR-driven assistant for day-to-day tasks. Now, in their demonstration, they showed a person who was sitting in a wheelchair, broken leg, and the Bot Handy basically was there to put dishes in the dishwasher, run the cycle, pull laundry out of the laundry thing, start the laundry thing. So it was kind of like day-to-day tasks in which you may need to use limbs. Now, this is really cool for people that maybe are missing or are physically impaired. So either missing limbs or physically impaired and unable to do those tasks. This would be a really great AI tool to basically follow you around and do these things for you. Very, very cool. The next up is ArcX. It's a wearable joystick controlled by your thumb. So it's a ring. You put it on your finger and it basically just has like a little maneuver thing there. Now, the whole purpose of this is, and they called out specifically Apple Watch, is that if you're out doing a run and you want to say start another lap or something, you'll take your time to grab your watch and click the things and swipe and do all you need to do. But with the joystick, you can just kind of one touch do it all on your own. You can do it in motion, so you're not stopping and having to do all of the motions. I think this is really cool. I think it's kind of silly, but I think that down the road, maybe there could be better applications. I think pairing AR glasses with a joystick ring like this would be awesome. And we'll talk about the next thing. TCL has brought out a heads-up display, basically a glass headset that would allow you to have a full 1080p view of monitors and overlays. So you could, as an example, be wearing the glasses, walking down the street and get directions as you're doing that. Messages would pop up on that thing with you still being able to see the world. But imagine combining the two in the ArcX, and you could use your ring to scroll through or select things as needed as you walk. I'm totally here for heads-up displays, by the way, 100%. If heads-up displays become a thing, I am all in on that. I just think it's really cool. I love them in video games, and when you see them on shows and stuff like that in movies. So I am all in on heads-up displays. Next up in the category of who could possibly afford this is the Mercedes-Benz has unveiled the MBUX, the hyperscreen dashboard for your car. And essentially what it is it replaces the whole console, and I'm talking from driver's side to passenger side. It is a whole digital screen console where everything is customizable and move around. There's even a screen over on the other side here. There's a screen over on the passenger side for your passenger to kind of like pull up the things that they want to pull up. So there's that. And then over on your side, it's, customizable, so you can see the things you need to see. If you want to see your speed, if you want to see your map or whatever, like everything's customizable. Basically the whole thing turns into a display, the whole thing, left to right. Interesting. I don't know. I'm not entirely sold. But then again, I don't drive a Mercedes-Benz. I drive a Kia Soul. And next, this is the big one that I think, I know a lot of people that are fans of Razer products. I use a Razer mouse and keyboard. I am a fan of Razer products, but Razer has announced a new thing called Project Hazel, and this will be the big one we're talking about today. Project Hazel is an N95 respirator that has, of course, RGB lights over on the side, and changeable air filters, which is promised to filter up there 95% of microbes. That's pretty good. That's typical of an average mask is anywhere between 95 to 99% of average microbes. So this is great. But it is it's basically wrapped around you, but it's clear on the front. So for those of us that do that work with lip reading and take signs on mouth cues, as example, people that are hearing impaired, I myself I take lots of cues from mouth movements. I also tend to look at people's mouths when they talk. It's how I can help understand people better. But I think this is great. But another cool thing about that is it has a voice amplification tool built into it as well. So essentially, while you're talking, it'll speaker out your voice, so that way it's not muffled behind the plastic coated mask, basically. The charging case also comes with a UV light filter, which basically is set to kill germs. By the way, they have these for phones and other devices. So if you don't have one, they look like tiny little coffins, and basically you put your phone in it, you close the thing, and you let it run for a little bit, and the UV light is set to kill all sort of bacteria. Now, you can use any sort of alcohol-based hand sanitizer for that matter, or there's tons of different wipes you can use to do this on your electronic devices. But seriously, if you're not degrossifying your electronic devices at least every other day, you should be doing that. So look into something like that. The cool little coffin thing is very cool if you're into high tech. But again, any alcohol-based cleanser wipes will work. I mean, hell, even at a desperate scenario, you can use hand sanitizer. That's perfectly safe because it is alcohol based, as long as the hand sanitizer is alcohol based. The Project Hazel comes out in both black and white. Now, there was a lot of other masks that were debuted at CES this year and have been over the past couple of months. Now, the thing about Razer debuting Project Hazel right now is, don't get me wrong, the idea of this mask, the whole design, the schematics, I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's something that should have come out a couple of months ago, and it's definitely something that if we're to launch in, say, the next 3 months, I would 100% buy. I would be in on this with a couple of stipulations. So my big one is vaccines are starting to roll out across the world, right? There's several different vaccines available. We're treating those that are 65 and over, high risk people, and those that are in areas, like teachers and food service workers and all those people. So those are who we're vaccinating first. Right now, it's January, but in 5 months, we'll be vaccinating just the general public, but at this rate, if not anytime sooner, depending on how, once President Biden steps in to see if he does anything to kind of ramp up production, if that's even physically possible. So my thing about this mask is that it's awesome, and I love it, and I'm totally down for it. I love the cyberpunk look to it. But the issue is if this doesn't come out in the next 3 months, let's say this comes out this summer, you're going to see such a low impact in people wanting to purchase, because at this point, although masks are probably going to be necessary for the remainder of 2021, by people starting to become vaccinated, masks are going to become less and less mandatory at a lot of different places. As an example, most restaurants, right, you can go to a restaurant right now and eat without a mask on. Like this is true of almost all across America. I know it's a little different in some other countries, but in America right now, I can drive down the road, go to a restaurant, sit down, take my mask off, and eat just fine with a party of people, and no one says boo. So that's like a thing that we got to take into mind, because if this thing comes out in, let's say, July of this year, the demand for it is going to be so low, because people will be like, well, I don't need a mask anymore, or I'm not going to need a mask that long. Why would I pay? And here's the other part about this, is that this mask also has to be somewhat reasonably priced. Now, I gave a very high estimate when I saw this of around $150. Although I do think that is an insanely high cost. I think this product has a lot of bells and whistles to it that are going to make it be that expensive. So I think that's an issue you're going to see, is it's going to be very expensive because of the RGB, the plastic, the voice amplification, the charger, the colors, the fact that you can customize the RGB. It's going to be pricey. My guess was at least $150, which is absolutely absurd for a device like this, for a mask like this. However, it could very well fall into the category of one of their middle end mice, and I would say it could probably fall somewhere around $60, which I think is more reasonable and probably what it should be, not necessarily what it will be, but what it absolutely should be. It should be right around $60. However, I'm going to bet it's at least triple digits. That is just my understanding. So my hope is that Project Hazel comes out within the next 3 to 4 months and is priced under $100. Well, let's say probably $99 is probably another really good guess. So what do you think? If you guys have been taking a look and listening to CES at all, what are the cool things that have come up for you that you've seen? Hopefully later today we'll learn a little more about what Apple is announcing. I'm going to say it's the Hyundai car deal, that they're developing a car. I don't think this is the announcement of what the car will be. I think this is just going to be like, hey, we're making a car and we signed a deal with Hyundai. Here's our vision for what we'd want a car, but not necessarily what the car will be. So let me know. Tweet at me, the Michael Fight on Twitter, Michael Fight over on Instagram. Tweet a topic if you're like, hey, CES, I saw this really cool insert smart freezer, fridge, or something like that. Also, there's been a lot of foldable phones and devices, and also a lot of clear TVs and stuff like that, which I am totally here for as well. So if you any of those makers of those are listening to the show, please send me one. I will play with it all day long and talk about how cool it is. But there it is. So hey, thanks a lot for subscribing. Thanks a lot for listening. And for those of you on YouTube, thanks a lot for watching. I super duper appreciate it. Thanks a lot, and join me for this Friday's episode where we're going to recap the news of the week. A lot has happened. It's mostly been all politics. Sorry. But we'll recap the week and, see what we can make fun of. All right. Thanks a lot.